All right. Well, welcome to the Rock and Roll Ghost podcast. This week, we're honored to have acclaimed actor, Mr. Eric Roberts, with us. When you're watching this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, the whole bit, and check out all of Eric's movies. Go if you haven't seen some of the classics, you got to go back and see them. How are you doing today, Eric?
I'm great. Thanks for asking, Pat.
I'm good too. All right. Well, let's jump off with the fact that, damn, you work hard. You are the hardest working man in show. You have succeeded James Brown as the hardest working man in show business. I've read some interviews you've done where you've explained that you just love to play, to act, but my God, your schedule is jam-packed. It must be.
Well, my schedule got kind of handed to me when they took away film and they gave us digital and said, here's your format now. Then everybody bought a camera, so everybody became a studio. So then my wife was getting between 8 and 30 offers every day because everybody was their own studio and they were calling for me. And so she said, do you want to do this? I said, sure, let's go. And we just started going from movie to movie to movie around the world until we had seen the world a couple times for free. But what's honestly helped us keep my momentum are breakdown services. Do you know about them?
No, I'm not sure.
Well, breakdowns are this whole thing that is sent to agents and heads of studios, and they're all the jobs for actors, and they're posted every 5 minutes on breakdowns, all the available jobs. And they go to everybody from the heads of studios to managers to agents. They go to everybody who subscribes. Anyway, breakdowns are why Eric Roberts works so much. So I'm advertising breakdowns right now.
There you go. I mean, and so you're by doing more, you're able to probably maintain I guess in terms of money, more success than maybe if you were just waiting for the occasional bigger film, I suppose.
Well, I don't work for the big payday, and also the big paydays are not what you'd expect. Yeah. Like I just got through the movie called Babylon, big budget, big stars. I played Margot Robbie's dad, Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Blah blah blah.
The I forget his name. The young kid's name.
Damien Chazelle.
Yeah.
Chazelle, a genius. Anyway, that movie did not pay well.
No, there's a lot of big people
in that movie, working with Damien, working with Brad, working with Margot. It was cool. It was a great experience. It was a long shoot. So you know, you can't expect money where you think it's going to be. You just have to keep on trucking.
Well, but it's good that for me, as someone who's appreciated you, and I know that you blame some of your after Runaway Train, you blame some of your issues on your drug use at the time, and that took away probably some of your I guess your oh God, I'm blanking on the word. Anyways,
momentum.
Your momentum, your luster a bit, and that's kind of, you know, it's a shame because if that happened nowadays, people are more forgiving, aren't they, about you know, personal troubles like that?
Sure they are, but we're also in the age of reality TV. Everybody loves watching everybody else's car wreck. Back then, it was kind of not cool to do that.
Right.
Times have changed.
Yeah. Well, you still worked a lot. You had a lot of good friends. Are you good friends with Stallone? Because he's cast you in a few of his things.
He's a great cat. We have fun every time we work together. We have fun. He's one of the hardest working, most intelligent men I've ever been in a room with. I want you to know that.
Yeah.
Even though he's, you know, Rocky Rambo, he's this incredible businessman who's a really great leader. And I love when he's my boss.
Yeah, and you were in a pretty damn good movie with a lot of good people, The Specialist, with him.
Great. I got to work with Rod Steiger in that.
Yeah.
Fantastic, cool man.
Yeah, yeah, he was wild in that movie, and just that cast was just insane. Though, I mean, at the time,
Sharon Stone, by the way, gets a bad rap. She's a cool lady. She's a really good actor. A lot of fun to work with. A lot of
yeah.
fun.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't think she. I didn't realize she got a bad rep, but I know that she was really good in a lot of things. It's just that I don't really know kind of what happened. You know, with some people, you just don't know why people kind of end up frowning on them, and it's for a long time. For me, it was a mystery with you because I didn't realize you had a drug problem in that time until probably the last few years. You know, when I was able to, you know, check up and read some stuff that you had done, and you were, there was a great Vanity Fair article with you that I read semi recently.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a really good explanation of where things had gone, but yeah, and then you did the Expendables with Stallone too, which was just this massive talent movie.
Crazy Boys Camp. A lot of fun.
You know, and speaking of that movie, one of your well, I don't know if you've it's been a while since I see the Expendables, but one of your co-stars in it was your co-star in Pope is Mickey Rourke. He was I remember when he was coming around with the wrestler that he was hoping that people would treat you with the same kindness that he was treated with when he made his return. And is he still a friend, a supporter?
Of course he is, and a lovely man, a great actor. In fact, he gives one of my favorite performances of all time. Did you see a movie called Barfly?
Oh, yeah.
Well, his performance in that still to this day is one of the top 4 or 5 performances of all time for me.
Yeah.
I just love that performance. Barfly. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, you
got to see all of Mickey's, especially early stuff. He's been one of my favorite actors for a while. He's another one on my dream bucket list to talk to, but he's been very press shy, quite frankly, but I keep trying. Barfly is a hard one for me because Barfly and Raging Bull are 2 hard films for me to watch because I come from a alcoholic addict, abusive father, and sometimes some of those movies are a little too, you know, intense in terms of, you know, realism. And it's you know, honestly, a few years ago, it's the weirdest thing. When I was going through my separation and divorce, I called my father, who I was estranged with, and though we're not on speaking terms anymore, it's one of those things where that call put everything, you know, behind, you know, and that was one good thing. But still, some of those movies like Barfly and Raging Bull, they're just there's good movies, but man, they're not easy ones to watch.
They're rough, man. They are rough. Yeah.
You know, and another one that is rough, and it's weird to see Star 80. Well, like I said, I watched it last night for the first time in probably 35 years.
Wow.
That is a completely different film than I remember it being. It's at once more intense, but I found myself not identifying, but sympathizing with your character. And why am I blanking on his name?
Paul. I
was going to say Neil. Paul. More than I would have ever remembered doing at the time. And I just remember being completely frightened by your performance in that film when I was a kid, as I probably should have been.
I'm very proud to be in that movie because, you know, Bob Fosse and Hal Astry were my 2 idols as a young man, and I wanted to work with both of them. Only got to work with Bob, but Bob Fosse is an overused and abused word, but he was a genius.
Yeah.
And once you work with a real genius, you learn 2 things: that you're not one, and that they're very, very, very unusual. And when you finally meet one, you go, oh, that's what that is. Oh my God, that's what that is. Yeah. And he was one of those. And he was a genius. He had answers to everything he was doing.
Yeah.
And he was just phenomenal. He's everything, you know. As a child, when you grow up, you think everybody's going to be perfect as adults. They're going to all help you do what you have to do the way you have to do it.
Right.
And you very rarely meet somebody who is perfect at their job, can take you and put you in your job and make your job even better. And he was one of those people. I mean, look at what he got out of Liza Minnelli. I mean, oh my God, he was a genius. And he just knew how to make it work. And so even though I'm very proud of that performance, I also know I owe it to him.
Yeah, yeah. What are your memories, your first memories of approaching that role? Thinking back now, were you nervous about tackling that subject matter? Were you nervous about being able to pull off that character at all?
I wasn't nervous about anything when I read it. When I read it, I thought, wow, what a cliche a-hole. I mean, what an unlikable cliche. I know this guy. He's half the people I know are a lot like this, you know. And I'm thinking, why are we doing this? That was my first impression. Then when I decided I had to really go for it because it's a Bob Fosse movie, so I started to try to understand this guy and then I realized this guy was all around me. This guy was a dime a dozen. This guy was not unusual. And I realized a lot of my friends are this guy. And I realized how really not a bad guy he was. He just should never been allowed to have a gun. But he was just foolish. He was not. Oh, my wife says, you know, because you played him, you defend him way too much. You took care of him because he was your character. And there might be some truth to that, but I just keep thinking if he hadn't killed her and himself, he would have been monetarily very successful off of what's the male strip club?
Chippendales?
Yeah, Chippendales.
Yeah.
He gave birth to Chippendales. And he would have been monetarily very successful. He would have been fine monetarily. He would have been a big shot, as it were, which you always wanted to be. He would have been that. And, but, you know, jealousy and, you know.
Insecurity.
Yeah, insecurity. It's so sad.
Yeah. Well, I think what was interesting about revisiting the film last night is the humanness you brought to the role. I don't think many people think about, because I had somebody on my social media that I was watching the movie, and you know, somebody said, what a creepy, like guy, he was. And it's like, yeah, but you see him, the way it's so hard to describe this, but do you see him struggling in your performance where he knows that he's going too far in moments and he's trying to hold himself back or trying to rein himself back in moments. And then, but it just keeps amping up in his head. The insecurity, the fear, the jealousy, the rage keeps, amping up. And, he put all of his attention into this one person without figuring that, he should have been putting his focus on other things too, and it's such a human performance in the end.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I recalled it being so different.
I've always considered Star 80 to be the best docudrama ever made. That's why I'm so proud to be in it, because I think it is. Because you think you're watching the actual story when you watch that movie. It's so good. And I love how he worked and he edited with music in the film. I love how he incorporated it. It was it was in and out of your mind, out of the picture, out of the movie, out of the story. It was so strong.
Well, and for me, it still holds up. But I mean, I guess it's because I identify with that period growing up in it. It's like it feels very of the time, and it's fascinating to look back at films from that era and to see how different, even just facial and body styles have changed so dramatically. Like how people looked, because there's a lot of bared flesh and and stuff in the screen. You know, just in like in the Playboy Bunny roller skating scene and such. You know, the guys with the hairy chests and the short shorts and stuff like that, and stuff like that. And it's like we've come such a different degree, and but it's like you're looking at a piece of history just by somebody making a regular movie. It's not like a documentary even. And it's just, that was one of the things that struck my mind, is just how amazing, like, you can see how human evolution in whatever term has changed.
No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, no, it's its own little time capsule, that movie.
Yeah. There's so many from that era. That was a very fruitful era where it was the stuff from the 70s were very auteur driven, but starting to get towards a commercial edge. Right. Because of all the trouble that happened with United Artists and stuff like that at the end of the 70s.
Oh, with
Apocalypse Now. And Heaven's Gate, yeah. Which is that's a fascinating movie.
That's a fun movie to watch, dude.
Yeah.
It's a wreck, but it's a fun wreck.
Yeah. Well, that leads me into something else. And you've never said this, and maybe you're not going to say it today. So I'm going to ask you, because I tried scouring every ounce of the internet to find out on Pope of Greenwich Village, the director wasn't that happy with your performance, I read, and you thought you were going to have to leave the film. Not the final director. There was a first director apparently. And you went to Mickey, and you guys went to the producers, and whoever that director was got shit canned. Was that Michael Cimino?
That was not Michael Cimino. What happened was, when Becca got shit canned, they said to me and Mickey, we had this list of directors. One of them is Mike Cimino. What do you think of him? And we hadn't heard about, we had heard about Heaven's Gate by then. We heard about it. And we heard about all the issues. And we both decided we didn't want anybody arriving with a bunch of baggage on top of our baggage, which was we were late starting because the first director got fired.
Yeah.
We already had a little baggage, so we didn't want to add to our baggage.
Yeah.
So we declined working with him, both of us.
Okay.
It was kind of a group. What do we do, Mick? I don't know. What do we do, Eric? Well, you want to work with him? Yeah, but not on this. It was It was like that.
So, have you ever named the original guy?
I think it's kind of okay. I think it's kind of common knowledge. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. He ended up in directing Civil War dramas, docudramas for Ted Turner.
Okay.
His name, I think his name is Ron Maxwell. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't. That was what I wanted to kind of clear up. That it wasn't Michael Cimino that was on the film for a bit and then got fired.
No, it was a possibility, maybe, sort of. Is it going to happen? No. Okay, moving on. It was like. Well,
Mickey ended up working with him on Year of the Dragon, and that's a fantastic.
Oh yeah, they like each other even.
Yeah. That was a wild. You have no sorry.
I'm just seeing if Ron Maxwell rings a bell to him. The picture of him, he did. Yeah, he did Gettysburg and stuff. So you're right about the war.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, let's talk. I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about some of your other stuff, but because Pope is another one of my favorite films.
Well, what happened with Pope, to tell you the story, because I don't think it's talking out of school. It's not pointing fingers. It's just giving others opinions. We had 5 days of rehearsal for that movie, The Pope of Greenwich. Yeah. Now, I got offered that movie in January of that year, and I was sent the book and the script by Koch and Kirkwood, the then producers. They said, pick a part, Paulie or Charlie. So I read the book, I read the script, and I pick Paulie. Yeah. And I call them, I tell them I'm picking Paulie. They say, great, we're going to go after Mickey Rourke for Charlie. Then I say, great. And they did, they got him. Okay, so that's January. Now I lose 30 pounds and I perm my hair. So by September, I've like dieted safely. I'm ready to go. And we have our first rehearsal the last week of August, and we're rehearsing 5 days and then we're shooting. Yeah. After the third day of rehearsal, the then director, Ron Maxwell, asked me to stay after rehearsal and talk to him. So I say, sure. So I do. And he says, why are you so skinny? I want to be a walking spaz attack. He goes, okay. Why did you perm your hair? I said, same thing, walking spaz attack. And he looks really angry and he goes, what is a walking spaz attack? I said, John Belushi, only skinny. He says, this guy's a tough thug. He's a stupid, tough thug. He's even, described as big. And I said, yeah, I know. But I told the producers that I wasn't going to play him that way. I was going to play him kind of an opposite kind of that. I was my mama's boy who wanted to be that, but wasn't. So he was kind of a joke on himself. And he said, well, I disagree with your interpretation. I said, well, what are we going to do about it? And he said, I'd like you to resign. I said, really? I said, wow, I've been working on this part for almost 9 months now. I said, let me think about it. Yeah. So I walk around the block one time around the Mayflower Hotel. I think, wow, I've never been in this kind of predicament. I was in love with this character that I created, and now I'm told that I can't create him. So I go up to Mickey's room and knock on the door, and I tell Mickey what happened. And Mickey and I call the producers, and they hear the story. We're both on the phone, and they fire that director, and they bring in Stuart Rosenberg, who directed a great movie. And we have history being made.
Yeah, it's a fascinating portrayal, and it's so alive, and it's so uncomfortable of a performance, which I to me always kind of is indicative of really good acting, or even in this case, great acting. Is that even when I watched that like a year ago again, it's so uncomfortable because this guy is a danger to himself and everyone around him because he cannot get the hint that he needs to settle down. And he's too eager. He's too eager, and he's not smart enough to see the big picture. And, as a kid, they took my thumbs, Charlie. It's like, I couldn't even, that was a shocking idea for me at the time,
But it's shocking. It's shocking to, take off a limb off a body.
Yeah.
And have the body still be alive. It is shocking.
Yeah. And your comeuppance at the end is great too.
We've always wanted to do part 2, and we've been approached many times. And the last time we were approached, it was, we want to do part 2, but Mickey looks like a different person.
Yeah.
So I had a remedy for it, that it should open with me having gotten Mickey in horrible trouble over something, as my character would be apt to do.
Yeah.
And he's being beaten to a pulp.
Yeah.
So we open up after the beating with him in bandages. So he comes out looking like he looks now.
Yeah.
And so we explain it right away.
Yeah.
So we have no bump in the road of why he looks like a different person now.
Yeah.
And so we take care of that right away, because Mickey Rourke is one of our generation's great actors.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we need to be on screen with him all we can.
I agree, and he's you were one of them. I grew up in a good generation, the generation before me got De Niro and Pacino and all them, but I got you and Mickey and Sean Penn and Nicolas Cage and those, for me, my generation, for me at least, you guys are my, acting kind of, De Niro and Pacino and them are still up there too. Don't get me wrong. Sure. It's just that, but you were my generation of great actors.
Oh, thank you, buddy. That is so nice to say to somebody, because I have such a strong feeling of three movies that happened in a row: The Conversation, Godfather 1, and Godfather 2. My age when those movies came out, and the way I was then as an actor and the way I was as an audience, those movies kind of molded what I am, those three films. So I understand exactly what you're saying to me.
Well, I've been a big film nut since I was a kid, and I would have, you know, marathons. I can distinctly remember New Year's Eve where I was at home and my mom was working at a restaurant, you know, overnight. So I spent the night watching The Conversation, oddly enough, The Godfather 1 and 2, and Apocalypse Now, and then Diner.
Great movies, all of them.
Yeah. And to me, that's one of my favorite New Year's Eves, because I don't go out on New Year's Eve because I don't like doing that stuff, you know. So to me, that's a great New Year's Eve, is to watch great films.
I'm with you, pal. Avoid the drunk traffic.
For sure. Well, let's talk a little bit. Hard Luck Love Song is a movie that's coming up that you're in. I actually talked to Melora Walters, who's in it, recently as well. What can you tell me about doing that film?
Hard Luck Love Song. What can I talk about, Eliza, without giving stuff away?
Well, I mean, it's okay because the movie's out and stuff, and the trailer and stuff. Just, you know, it has Dermot Mulroney, has an incredible cast. Soundtrack. The soundtrack is what knocks me out the most about this movie. Yeah, it is a great soundtrack. It, that was a fun role, and you got to keep your hair long.
I play a lot of old guys these days because I'm an old. And when you play old guys, they want your hair short. Be it a lawyer, a doctor, a grandfather, they want your hair short. So that was one of the few movies I got to keep my hair. So they wanted a beard too. Hard Luck Love Song is about winning, is about love, life, liberty, and lots of money. Hard Luck Love Song. That's
what's your role in it?
Say what?
You play a bar owner?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. My wife is prompting me. You play the bar owner.
Well, you do so many damn movies. It's hard to keep track of them, I'm sure.
No, I play the nucleus of everybody's needs. I'm the bar owner, and I'm a symbol in this story, and the story kind of happens around my world.
So the main character plays in the bar that you own.
There you go.
Okay, excellent. How long were you on that shoot for? Do you remember?
That shoot was a long shoot for those kind of shoots, and it was about 3 weeks. Yeah.
And then I did you work with Melora at all? I forget what role.
I did. Of course I did.
Yeah, I think she said she plays a bartender in the movie.
Yeah, she kicks ass.
Yeah, she's a very sweet lady.
Yeah, she's a cool actor too.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many movies I've seen her in. What other things do you have coming up that people should know about? Honestly.
Well, the two things I am most excited about are, of course, Babylon with playing Margot Robbie's dad, but also this cool show called Righteous Gemstones on HBO.
Yes.
And I played John Goodman's oldest friend who comes out of the woodwork and says, "Here I am, help me out." And we're basically con men. Men to the nth degree. And only John's very successful. And I come back into his world in season 2. Anyway, this show, this cast, this script, this crew, this location, everything is the most pleasure I've ever had working in my career.
That's nice.
Righteous Gemstones, HBO. Check it out.
Yeah. I've been waiting for the next season to come up, and then catching up on all of them.
What kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to pretty much anything. I have a playlist that has anything from opera to stuff from this year that's on the pop chart. So
Well, I have a gift for you.
Okay.
Keaton, Keaton Simons, Simons. Keaton.
I'm speaking to him tomorrow.
Well, he's going to blow you away, dude. The guy is my favorite singer-songwriter. I put him up on my website because I'm a fan. He's going to blow you away.
Well, I can't wait to talk to him. I'm eager to do that. It's when I was offered both you and he, I'm like, well, yeah, let's do it. You know, I like talking to people in general, even if if somebody like Keaton, I may not be as aware of, necessarily, and somebody like you, which I am fully aware of. So I like finding out about people.
Good on you. He's on tour right now with Brett Young. He just came off tour with Eric Clapton.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an ass kicker, dude. He's good.
That's good.
Yeah,
it's good. Well, I can't wait to talk to him tomorrow, and I'll of course mention how proud of him you are.
Well, you gotta get him. You have to get him because he's very humble. So you have to get him to a guitar riff for you, because it's a thing to behold what he can do with his hands. It blows your mind, and he can just do it. He's incredible. And when you're in a room with him, it's like having a new toy. Ooh, like do this for me, and you get him to do stuff for you. He's this incredible musician, and he's my favorite singer-songwriter. Wait to hear his stuff.
He's also your stepson, correct?
Now that you mention it, I do kiss his mother.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool though. I mean, my son plays music too, and I'm very proud of him.
But don't think this.
No. I get it.
Anything I said, because I wake up next to his mom. I'm crazy about his mom. His mom's really cute. His mom's really smart. I've been married to her for half my life. But this singer-songwriting kid, Keaton Simons, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I just can't tell you enough. It's not because of how I know him. It's because I know him.
I'll give you an example of how I understand that is that there are times my son sends me music and I'm like, I'm not really digging that necessarily, but there are times where he'll send stuff and I'm like, I mean, I would listen to that. I would if that were commercially available, I would listen to that. So
yeah,
I absolutely understand. There are times where you can see past family to recognize talent and or genius or whatever the word you may
recognize use. Greatness.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Can I talk a little bit about that? With you have one daughter, Emma, who's acting as well, and then you have your two stepchildren. How has being a father been for you? How have you you've had some ups and downs in certain areas, but how is being a father at this point in your life for you?
Well, thank God everybody's grown up and everybody's really smart and everybody's really healthy and everybody's really, as it were, normal. And I had nothing to do with any of it. The moms did a great job, and here I am to get all the glorious fallout. I have no complaints about anybody who ever did anything. I love them all incredibly. They all are much more than I deserve, and I'm a fan of all of them. And it's a really fun to watch my daughters work, to listen to my stepson's music, and to eat my stepdaughter's food. I mean,
right.
And I do all three pretty much every day.
Yeah.
So, and that's a fact. And so that's my life. In fact, you may or may not find this amusing, but I told my wife after about 4 months of lockdown, I said to my wife, I lived in lockdown before lockdown, didn't I? And she goes, yes, you did. Thanks to me. And because she takes care of everything.
Yeah.
I have to do nothing except my homework and the gym, and my homework and the gym. That's what I do. And I do lots of homework and lots of gym, but that's what I do. And I realized she's given me a life of comfortable lockdown. Yeah. And I only realized when everybody else was complaining, but the only difference, for me was I had a mask. Right. So I have a great life, buddy. I love my life.
I can imagine, but I would also imagine by what you're saying, and I feel like sometimes maybe I'm in a similar vein, that you're somebody that needed structure.
Just structure, organization, to put it all in place, so it would give birth to itself, as opposed to just cause chaos. Yeah.
Right. And did you find that you had trouble doing that on your own?
Well, the thing is, agents don't do anything for you, because they're not agents because they wanted to ever be agents. They're agents by default. They wanted it to be something else. They failed and they became agents. So they're not happy people. So they don't love your success when it happens. They don't have time to pick you up when you fail. They don't want to be there. They don't want to be their jobs anyway. So that's who you're dealing with on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. That's who you're dealing with. So when you find somebody who gets what you do, understands everything, you give it to them. So I made her the boss. I made her my manager. Yeah. And it's been great ever since, because I do all the stuff I want to do. I do little bitty things. I do studio things. I do everything from a student film to Dark Knight, because my wife is the boss. And if I just had an agent, that wouldn't happen. Right. Ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great though. I mean, I can appreciate that you're so willing to kind of give yourself over to, that being a necessity, and that being a thing that actually helps you in the end, and recognizing that it helps.
Well, it's just, I've seen this planet, and I realized firsthand, and I have the best job on this planet. And I know that. Yeah. So all I can do is ask for more. And so I do. And my wife organizes it so we can get it done. Yeah. And we have a great life.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, I was asking about being a father. You're also a grandfather now. How's that?
Yeah, who knew? I have 2 grandchildren. I have a brand new grandson, Rhodes, and I have a 2.5-year-old granddaughter, Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia. That's great. That's how fitting.
Yeah, it was not because of any of that, but yeah, sure.
and Georgia is whose child?
Morgan's oldest child. They're having another child next year. She and her wife April, and they live across the street and 1 block down.
Oh, that's nice. It's good to have.
So we're open doors for the granddaughter. Yeah, sure.
That's great. And I just want to say that because of following, the stuff through the years, I want to say that it was very heartening to hear that you were able to reconcile with both Emma and your sister, Julia, a while ago now. And that's great. That's great that you're able to have those relationships again. I think it's so hard with family when you're not on the same page, and I've had that in my family where, you're not on the same page, and it creates a lot of tension. And so I just wanted to say that it's nice for me to know that, that's still a positive thing for you.
Oh, very, very. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I did want to touch on a couple other things.
Sure.
One role I absolutely loved you in, and boy, after seeing it, I thought, why doesn't this guy have his own show or a spin-off of this character? Was when you were on Unjustified with Timothy Oliphant. That's a killer episode. You were just so damn smooth and cool as hell in that role. What do you remember about that episode?
I remember working with Timothy and loving every minute of it. He's such a fun guy to work with. He's such a cool cat. That was, I remember being very cold shooting that episode and uncomfortable. I don't remember why specifically. I'm just going through my memory of it. But I remember being uncomfortable and unhappy physically, but loving being around him. He was just a great cat. And as an actor, it's so much fun to be around other actors of your ilk. And he's like me. He acts like me. He drinks coffee like me. He's unpretentious like me. He's a cool guy. I'm just comfortable with him. And he does his homework, which I appreciate the hell out of.
Yeah, it was such a, I remember when that episode popped up, I'm like, it was just so cool to see, because there's some other good I guess cameo, episode, like Carla Gugino shows up as her Karen Cisco character from the TV show at one point in an episode, and that was cool. And she's also in that, that character was also in the Elmore Leonard world. So it's just a really cool episode, and I just thought you were just badass in it. In
didn't I do an arc? Wasn't I in several episodes of that?
No, you were just in one, because you ended up getting shot in that episode.
I got shot.
Yeah,
when that happens.
I know you weren't killed, thankfully. That's why I was hoping maybe you'd come back, but it was also towards the end of the series, I believe, if I recall. But that's a show I watch once every couple of years, quite frankly, because I love it so much. So that's always a fun one. And the other one, and you mentioned it earlier, for God's sake, you're in one of the biggest movies ever made, The Dark Knight.
Yeah. that was cool, man. You know what happened with that? It was weird. I heard they were casting for it, The Dark Knight. Chris Nolan. So I called my agent. I said, whatever I want to do, I want to be in that movie. Whatever I can buy. I said, well, they're looking at you for what's my character's name? The gangster.
You were the guy that hired Joker to take out Batman.
Bonanno?
No.
I missed the first part.
Dark Knight.
Sal
Moroni. Yeah.
Moroni, right.
They were casting for Moroni. I went and I auditioned for that part.
Yeah.
And I read. It was a very long reading of several scenes. I did a bunch of reading on camera. And then 4 months passed, and I'd done other movies and other stuff, left town, blah, 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 totally forgotten about it. So I just assumed I didn't get it. Okay, moving on with my life. And they call, oh yeah, by the way, that audition, you got Sal Moroni. We'd like you to start blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm available. And running, of course. And the really cool thing about making that movie that people don't realize is they said we're going to shoot it at the Pinewood. All the Chicago stuff was in Chicago, and they're going to shoot all the Gotham City stuff in Pinewood. Only that was a lie. We didn't shoot in Pinewood. We shot at the old Zeppelin hangar, which was only a hangar for 5 years at the turn of the 20th century. Yeah. And it's this huge place about 3 football fields wide, 3 stories tall. And if you're a movie geek, it's heaven, because you walk in, it's all Gotham City. It is so cool. And that's where we shot the movie. And it was a movie geek's heaven. And and they had little private dressing rooms on the lot. It was incredible. And it was really heaven for an actor. Yeah. And I'm really thankful that he made me a part of that process.
Yeah, it's another one. That movie is so chock full of great actors, and for you to be a part of that was really cool, I thought. And what kind of other things are on the horizon? You're talking about Babylon, like you're shooting something today. What could you tell me about what you're shooting today?
I can't talk about what I'm doing today, but Babylon, we just wrapped.
Yeah.
And Righteous Gemstones. When does season 2 air, honey?
Starts January 4th.
Season 2 starts airing January 4th, and that's me and John Goodman, and so those are my big steps, you know.
And then Hard Luck Love Song, which we talked about, is coming out in the middle of October. I saw, so that could be cool to see you in. Well,
wait till you hear the music.
I'm eager to see it because I like the cast. The guy that plays the lead was on a Amazon show I really liked, that I'm forgetting the name of right now.
The lead in what?
Hard Luck Love Song.
Oh yeah, so it's Laura and then Sophia Bush.
No, it's the lead guy.
Oh, that guy is so great. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I saw the like an ad on Facebook for it. And I'm like, well, that looks like a really cool movie, and you know, now I'm talking to two people from it, so that's awesome. Well, Eric, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you guys got to shoot, and I don't want to intrude too much of your time, but I really appreciate you taking the time today to talk to me. It was a
real pleasure, dude. Really, truly.
And maybe we'll get to talk again at some point. And just to let you know, I'll send the link when it goes up to Eliza, as well as the interview with Keaton I do. I'll send that as well.
Cool. I'd love to see that.
Yeah. And again, thank you very much for your time. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck.
Peace out, dude.
All right. Take care. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.